there and one here, right?
Yep. So we have something under our head. Yep, I like the foam roller too. So foam roller under the head. You could use a foam block here too, so you don't have to drag two foam rollers around. And then we're going to put our knee on the other foam roller. Now, a perfect 90-degree angle at the hip is probably not going to be...
The one leg straight.
Yeah, and then the bottom leg is going to go straight, exactly.
And the other one goes on top of the other.
Yep. And then we want to stack ourselves up and try and get as like orthographically perfect. We want to have like one hip perfectly stacked over the other hip, one hand perfectly stacked over the other hand, shoulders over shoulders, brothers killing brothers, you know, all this stuff. And then we can reach one hand over the other. Let me change my camera angle a little bit. So when I have my hands together, I can reach one hand out beyond the other, and that's going to mean that my hip is moving out in front.
Right.
And then we're going to push down into the foam roller to get ourselves back. The goal here is to feel like our top hip, in my case, my right hip, is doing 100% of the work of this exercise. So I'm not preventing myself from rolling forward with my bottom arm. I'm not reaching with my top hand. My leg is just opening up, and the natural thing to happen is that I get flatter to the ground with my hips, and I push down, and I get more perpendicular to the ground as I come back. And just find that shape. I tend to notice my inner thigh working first, and then after you can kind of tune into that, focus on the way forward, opening the hip up. How slowly can you go to feel that glute working? And this is very hard. So we're going to do a third exercise today that's going to help us kind of engage with this, because again, this is a little bit more attention to that inner thigh. Open up that hip, close it down. Open up that hip. And especially when you get to that most extreme position, try and open your hip even further from there. I bet you feel your glute. I don't feel as much like muscular glute as I feel like tendinous, bone kind of stress. I feel that like really high tension, high frequency kind of stretch. Reaching forward, reaching forward, reaching forward, reaching forward. Open the knee away from the ground and then push down and get that inner thigh working. So we're reciprocating. Hip open and hip closed. I'm trying to just be as dead as a doornail everywhere else but that hip. Good. And so I like to go for about a minute on that one. I like to go for about 3 minutes on that one. We're only going to do about a minute here.
Okay.
And then the other side, I'm actually going to switch out. So just for example, sometimes, I have a very small foam roller. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that one for this. I'm going to use my nice big foam roller, and I'm going to put this block under my head, one way or the other. Okay. Straight leg. And then there's this little toe hook that I do here. I don't know if you can see, but I like to take my toe and just tuck it right behind my knee there. And that just helps, again, keep everything as dead as possible so that my hip can really be the star of the show. And as always with these exercises, 4 out of 10 effort.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Good. Now, the sort of common faults here that like maybe you start with the foam roller too close to your groin, so you start rolling out and oops, I'm out of room. Right, so maybe you want to start a little closer to the knee so you can really get that distance in and distance back out. And distance in. And distance back out. Yeah, good. And trying not to let the low back twist or the upper back twist, and really just getting that glute to be the star of the show. So get your extreme moment at the very end there, trying to lift that leg up and then press back down. All the way to that most extreme moment. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out, and then push down. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out, all the way out. Push down. All the way out. Push down.
Almost like a yoga thing.
It is. It's very gentle. It's very like stretchy. And I'm beginning to classify stuff by like athletic or non. And this is like not an athletic pose. I don't think there's too much room for argument there, but my judgment comes from the fact that our feet are not on the ground. Right? We're lying on the ground very lazily. But these poses are really important because when we can lazily lie on the ground, we can sort of like help our body relax into more adaptive shapes. We can relax into them rather than activate our way into them. Good. Good. Just be aware of like when maybe you're like pulling your arm back and forward with your elbow versus your shoulder rolling forward and your shoulder rolling back. You're doing a little bit of both, but I want you to sort of be able to have your hands be an accountability measure for how far forward you roll or how far back you roll. So try and keep those elbows straight. Good. Nice. Last couple there.